Hi, everyone. Welcome back for our second session of day two of our Copilot Control System digital deep dive. I'm really excited for this upcoming session, which is going to give us insight into empowering Microsoft Copilot Studio makers with enterprise grade management controls. You're going to learn how to use the Power Platform Admin Center to govern development at scale, manage usage capacity, and align billing and usage policies with business units. We'll also explore how to enable secure maker development while maintaining visibility and control across your environment. I'm excited to bring on our three speakers for today. Zohar Raz, who leads the Power Platform governance team, building governance solutions for agents, apps, and flows. Amiya Patra, an engineering leader focused on scalable governance solutions for Copilot Studio and Power Platform environments. And Aisha Hassan, a product strategist with expertise in maker enablement and enterprise grade lifecycle management. Over to you, team.
Awesome. Thank you, FA, and thank you to my co-speakers. My name is Zohar. I lead the Power Platform governance team, and today we're going to talk a little bit more in depth on governance at scale at Copilot Studio agents. We'll do a quick introduction, and then we'll dive deeper into a case study with Aisha on how Microsoft has been implementing adoption of agents in our company, inside our company. And then we'll talk a little bit more about how you can bootstrap and get started in your journey. And we'll finish with Amiya, who will take us deeper into how you do cost management, so not just risk management today. This model has been introduced yesterday. So this is the Copilot Control System. And today we're going to focus on the middle pillar, and we're going to touch a little bit about the third pillar. So yesterday was all about securing and governing your agents in your environment, and Mick went deeper into security and how to get into a baseline where CISOs and CIOs could sleep well at night while makers are building agents in your digital environment. Today we're going to go and talk about more visibility and more control with a lot less effort and the capabilities that you get in the Power Platform Admin Center to govern your Microsoft Copilot Studio agents. And we'll also touch about a little bit into how to trust and verify. So things you could do once people are building agents in your environment, what you can do to get visibility and observability of everything that has been being built, and then how you go back and improve your control system to make sure that the right things are happening in your organization. Yesterday, Mick touched a little bit about the different types of agents. So we've got retrieval agents, which are simple agents that are knowledge only, answer questions through a conversation, all the way to agents that could take actions, tasks, using either Power Platform connectors or the actions that come with them, all the way to the right, which is the autonomous agents that run in the background and actually do those tasks on behalf of the user. And today we're going to talk about the governance that each one of these type of agents require. You should think of the retrieval agents being pretty much like a document where the focus should be preventing oversharing or access to content that people should not have access to, and the controls you have for that. And then when it touches on tasks and autonomous agent, it's more like an executable, and how do you make sure that people are only accessing and executing things that they're privileged to take care of. Mick also touched on these tools that Microsoft offers today for user agents, either the Agent Builder, Agent UC, and Copilot Chat, or SharePoint. And then on the far right, you would see Azure Foundry and the agents that you can build with ProDev coding. And then in the middle sits this low-code platform, the Copilot Studio, that allows you to build both what we call the 10 to 10,000. So these are the crown jewels, the agents for HR or for IT, or even the customer-facing agents that professional teams would build on the platform, but also the self-service agents that your makers would build, and those we call the 10,000 for 10. So these are either personal agents that people create, or agents that they share with smaller teams, like a dozen people. And the governance that you need to think of from an IT perspective is different when it comes to crown jewels, and you want to make sure that they're well protected, but that scrutiny that you could do for 10 agents is not the same scrutiny you could do for 10,000 agents like that. So really the art is finding the right balance of allowing people to innovate and get creative, and in a way automate themselves for everything that they could do and have access to day to day. They should be able to build an agent to help them. And then you want to make sure that when they build those things, they're not putting the digital environment at risk, so the CISOs and CIOs can actually feel protected, and that none of the wrong things are happening in your organization. And when you look at the maturity model, you could start thinking about where your organization is in this adoption journey, all the way from the left, where we see companies getting started, either because they have a few teams starting to build dedicated agents that will go to the tenant catalog and serve the entire company, and then maybe some initial enthusiasts that are starting to build agents and using the Gen AI technology inside the company, all the way to companies that are on the far right in the efficient stage, where you have a well-established center of enablement. IT is tightly involved in training, coaching, giving guidance, and then there's the environment strategy or the zone strategy we'll talk about today, where people could self-service without even reaching out to IT and start building those agents. And the moment they want to share it broadly, then there's guidance and steps that they follow to make those agents available for other colleagues. And there's no better segue than to demonstrate that with one of our early adapter companies, which is our own Microsoft. We also name it Customer Zero, that is helping the product group build all the technology to allow us to govern at scale. And for that, I want to invite Aisha Hassan for a quick fireside chat where I get to interview her on and let you all know how Microsoft is actually running our business. So Aisha, welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here again, and do this again with you, Zohar. I'm super excited.
So tell us a little bit about you, your team, your role, and how does Microsoft think about adopting agents inside the company?
Sure. So I am the Power Platform and Copilot Studio Customer Zero lead for our internal tenant at Microsoft. Essentially, my team and I, we have the privilege to be at the forefront of the product, where we're not only looking to bring the best out to our customers, working in partnership with your group, but being as the very first and the foremost customers, we get to have early access where we can actually provide critical feedback to improve the product, and really look at that from customer lens on what would it take to be able to use this product out of the box. And it goes from usability to deployment to adoption, and how any enterprise customer can govern at scale. So we are essentially Microsoft's first and foremost users, but we're also the largest user base, so Microsoft employees as Microsoft's first and foremost customers.
So talking about size, give us a sense of how big is Microsoft when it comes to low-code adoption and apps, flows, agents?
Oh, absolutely. So our tenant is pretty much growing exponentially when it comes to our Power Platform landscape. We are over 100,000 environments with more than 400K flows, more than 300K apps. And we have more than 10,000 enterprise agents that we've been built in the entire ecosystem. And close to about 30,000 agents that we call the personal agents that employees are just building on a daily basis to, just learn more about agents, learn more about Copilot Studio, and then just really, solve critical individual productivity scenarios.
Aisha, one of the popular questions I tend to get is, how big is your IT team?
So we have a very nimble but mighty team. It is all up about 10 to 12 people. That includes, some of our vendor resources, but it includes our service engineers, our security engineers, and then product managers out. So yeah, so we're always very busy, but we're very fortunate that we have such a great team that we're able to keep the tenant running and make sure that we can allow as many capabilities as possible early on for dog fooding, and then help the product go to GA for all of our customers.
All right, on that, tell me a little bit about how you approach adoption of agents and how do you enable people to build agents inside the company?
Absolutely. So I think that we're still very nascent in our AI journey, but we've come a long way, and we've learned a lot in partnership with the product group, and also, working with a bunch of stakeholders. And we've been able to take an iterative approach, and it's always been that, okay, whatever the unknowns are with AI, how do we identify and quantify that risk and mitigate it while balancing innovation with safe guardrails? So our adoption strategy has been pretty much to the point of what are the capabilities that we allow as self-service, which means what all anyone can build just by simply getting an environment, having the right set of connectors, and then be able to build agents, versus how do we delineate when someone really wants to either share an agent more broadly or build an enterprise level scenario, as you mentioned earlier, agents that would deal with more sensitive data or more proprietary data, such as HR systems, financial systems. So we have this tiered approach where we actually go from, what is a low risk agent. So if you're looking to just build agent, which is really just simple case for and still powerful case of individual productivity, help me summarize my emails or help me prepare for a meeting. You can use Agent Builder and use knowledge sources such as SharePoint, even web URLs, and now you can add Teams chats and files as well. This is a really quick way for anyone to be able to build an agent with a very specific quick UI within M365 Copilot Chat. So it meets users where they're most productive, which is if you're working mostly in teams, then right there and then you can build an agent and you can share it with everyone in the company or selective share it because it's considered low risk. Then our middle tier is what we call is the personal or a me agent. So we have managed environments and personal developer environments where everyone in the tenant can get one or more environments. It already comes with a connector policy, where we include majority of our first party connectors such as SharePoint, Excel, Azure DevOps, Outlook, and users can also build autonomous agents. And we have also started to allow multi-agent capability. These are still considered a little bit riskier, but we have sharing limits applied. So these are entirely personal agents an agent that I'm building to solve a critical business problem or just to understand how I can create still a very, very powerful, impactful agent. And then we have the last tier, which is enterprise agents, which is through more of guardrails and also through an IT approval process. So once I've actually determined that I have an agent, which I think is solving some use case for me, then I want to share it or I want to add others to collaborate with that agent, then that actually becomes an enterprise agent, and it goes through an IT rigor to ensure that data is protected and that capability can be shared broadly with everyone.
All right, let's talk about those enterprise agents. I've been asked often, how do we prove return on investment when people build agents and they're shared at the enterprise level? Do you have maybe 2 examples of agents that we see in MSIT that you're proud of?
Oh, absolutely. I think that the first and foremost is the ESS, or the employee self-service agents, that we previewed at Ignite last year. It's one of the highlights of Microsoft's agents revolution, and also it's a really showcase of how actually different capabilities come together and how really the user experience is really at the heart of it. So the focus of employee self-service agent is really this mega bot, which allows all of the employee and personnel type of activities to be all collected into one experience. And I can have that agent as a team spot. I can have that agent as a declarative agent in my Copilot Chat, and within the same agent I can get information about HR related items, personnel benefits, and at the same time, I can open an incident or a ticket with, let's say, help desk about my device or something. So the idea is like for employee productivity and all of that employee type of systems, how do you bring them all together so you don't have to do context switching by going to disparate systems? The other example is what started out as Copilot in sales and then ultimately turned into sales chat declarative agent, which is also something as a first party product that Microsoft has, and we're using it internally. It helps our sellers, folks in finance and really in field to get that really next level of productivity, how to quickly be able to collect data and then also be able to close on deals, look up information. We have also various agents that are being built throughout the company. Finance department's doing its own things. We also have the support ones that I mentioned. And then there is a big effort of content. So various organizations, and especially learning organizations, they're also building agents, which is just collating all the content and making it easier for all the employees to be able to find the training that they need to take and where they can learn more about different activities and different initiatives going on around Microsoft.
All right, last question for today. What is MSIT doing to enable employees to build agents inside the company?
Excellent question. So we have something called the COE, Center of Excellence, Agents COE, and that's really at the heart of how we are guarding more excitement. We are, streamlining guidances and disseminating that information. So by having a central hub, we are making sure that there's uniform guidance across what tools are available to build agents, because we have Agent Builder, we have Copilot Studio, we have Azure AI Foundry, and we still have Copilot Chat, which is very powerful. So the idea is really to provide that central guidance of awareness of what tools are available, what use cases are already being built at an enterprise level as first party, and then also help train folks on being able to learn more about the products. We also do training and have those How I Built It showcase sessions. And one thing which is absolutely great, really at the heart of this, is the community aspect of it. So we have early builders program, and we really have that champion community where the builders are helping other builders and makers to learn from each other and come up with all of those innovative use cases on how we can build more agents, but also impactful agents.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Aisha. Let me move forward to the second part of the presentation. I hope this overview gave you a sense of how to get started and gave you a few ideas on how to think about adoption in your organization and moving in that maturity model that I earlier showed on moving from the initial stage all the way to the efficient stage. So we'll talk a little bit more in depth on the governance pillars and how the product group recommends that you get started with Microsoft Copilot Studio. So back to this model, we're going to talk in depth about this middle pillar on how to build an environment strategy, how to think about zones, and then I'll demo in the Power Platform Admin Center how all this gets started. So Gartner has this great model that talks about zone strategy. It takes into account the technicality or the technical complexity of the agents and then the risk that it introduces. And it's really trying to express that IT should allow creativity and innovation of makers, and think about this green zone where basic solutions can be built, introducing very limited risk. Aisha talked about, personal agents is a great example where someone can actually do these things, access SharePoint or access some HR tool. They might as well build an agent that would help them do those things day in, day out, and not need any of the IT involvement that you would expect in the other zones, like the yellow zone, where this example would be where someone needs something special that doesn't exist in the green zone. Usually we hear about building autonomous agents that are customer facing, or using a specific data source like a finance data source that you would not give every employee in the company. So you would create a dedicated set of environments like dev, test, and prod in this yellow zone. And then last is the red zone. This is the IT managed zones, where production agents that end up in the tenant catalog, like Aisha mentioned, these would be in IT managed environments. And then it's pretty clear who needs to wake up in the middle of the night if it stops working, or who needs to monitor reliability and performance of those specific assets. So when you think about these zones, we invited Heineken and Build, and they were on stage talking about how they've been thinking about zones, and they have these fancy names like Heineken 0.0 is their open for everybody, share anything you want zone that is their like lightest beer that they offer. You could come up with your own names for the zones. The next zone that Heineken uses is Heineken Silver. That would be the zone for personal dev environments where people can actually build personal agents. And then it goes and increases in complexity and risk into zone 2 and 3 and 4 and so on. So I just want to describe how all of you can get started right now. Retrieval agents is these agent builder agents or SharePoint agents that are company-wide and can be shared. You can control it in the Microsoft Admin Center with a security group on who would get to use it. Some of it was touched in other sessions. I'm going to skip and talk about zone 2 and then a little bit on zone 3. Zone 2 is the zone that is dedicated, Aisha talked about, with personal dev environments that every employee that visits the Copilot Studio for the first time gets a dedicated environment. They are limited and restricted by the controls that UIT has set in that specific zone. And then when an agent is being built and is ready for sharing, what we call finished goods, then there's a conversation to have with IT on sharing it more broadly or bringing it to the tenant catalog, and that's where zone 3 is reflected here. We've got dedicated environment to run those agents that are going to be broadly shared. So let's focus on bootstrapping the zone 2 and how this is done in the Power Platform Admin Center with a specialist that owns apps, flows, and now agents. So I'm going to go and demo that, but just before that, let me kind of walk you through what we're going to see and talk about. First is there's the new Power Platform Admin Center that we've announced at Build. This is the new green that supports also dark mode, and I'll show that. It's a one-stop shop for everything that is agents of Copilot Studio, apps and Power Apps, flows, and Power Automate. It's a great Power Platform admin capability that is designed for jobs to be done. So it's been restructured really to offer security for the security officer and monitoring and deployment for the operation officer, things that Mick touched on yesterday when he did the overview of the managed platform. Next, we're going to go a little deeper and see the Copilot Hub. So this is the single pane of glass that we've added as part of the Copilot Control System. It's an extension of what you would see in the Microsoft Admin Center. So here is a single pane of glass of everything that is agent-related on the Power Platform, either Dynamics 365 or things that have been published to other channels, including the Microsoft 365 channel, everything to do with what's new, seeing controls like settings. So we brought it all into one central place where you can actually manage, including consumption and cost. Then the third thing I want to touch on is how we have this concept of environments, which is the equivalent of the teams for team or sites for SharePoint. In the Power Platform, the container is called an environment. That's where we host all the assets, including apps, flows, and now agents. And then we also created this concept of an environment group where IT can actually segment these individual environments into environment groups, which allows you to easily govern at scale. And we'll see that in action. We'll talk about the environment routing capability that actually empowers you to do the screen zone where routes every new employee to a dedicated personal environment, very similar to the OneDrive for apps, flows, and agents. And in that equivalent OneDrive, in the personal dev environment, you can actually build your personal agents and experiment with the Gen AI technology and use everything that IT allows you to start building with. And then last is a call out to the fact that we, over the last year and a half, have seen and learned that the Gen AI and the LLM and the agents that come with the new technology introduce new concerns, security concerns, cost concerns, on top of what we built for apps and flows. So we've introduced a set of controls and capabilities dedicated for governing agents, and we'll see that in action as well. So with that, let me switch to my browser and show you a little bit more about the demo. So here I'm logged into the new Power Platform Admin Center. I'm logged in as Nestor, who is the specialist in Woodgroove Bank. And this specialist, I own apps and flows and now agents, and I'm going to use this admin center to govern all my employees at scale. So one thing we've introduced is dark mode. I'm going to start showing this in dark mode. Maybe I'll switch back to bright mode later. And then I'm going to take you to the Copilot Hub. So this is the Copilot Hub that I touched on. You could see an overview page on how to get started, getting started in details. This page has a lot of content to help you work with your security officers, get details into the architecture of Copilot Studio, and then how agents are being built, where data is being stored, what connectors are, what are the controls that you can actually use. We will continue to publish what's new. So there's new things coming online all the time. We've now structured it based on the different products. And then we brought in a central place of all the settings. So everything that you can control, turn on and off, you can actually do now in one place. So it's pretty easy to find it over here. And then last is the Copilot Studio page, which gives you a great bird's eye view tenant-wide on consumption and billing. And it will take you to all the different places in Power Platform Admin Center to govern these things at scale. So that has been the quick tour of the Copilot Hub. The next thing I want to show you is managed. One of the ways to get a feel of this is the new search. We've integrated an agent into the Power Platform Admin Center, so you can actually look for zones like we described by Gartner, and it will take you to environment or environment group. I want to go to environment group. So this is the page where I could start creating my zone, my green zone, and that's what we're going to show today. So I could create a new group and call it whatever, Woodgroove 101. This would be the place to host all the individual dev environments that I'm going to create and allow people to start building. The environment, I already created the environment group. So if I look for the lab that I created, I've named it Gen AI Lab. So this is the Woodgroove Bank Gen AI Lab. And this is the environment this is the group that already hosts 19 of the different environments. I could easily add a few more environments into the group by just clicking and adding environments to the group. But one of the nice things that I could also go do is in the environment groups page, I could actually set up routing. So routing is this capability that every new employee or a security group that I pick will land into this group that I choose, in this case, Gen AI Lab, when they come into one of the Power Platform studios. So here I could check the Power Platform Copilot Studio, and then people going to copilotstudio.microsoft.com would land in this specific group. And the advantage of doing so is how that specific personal dev environment will be configured. So if I go back to my group that I created, now I'm showing you the real power of groups, where if I click on the Rules tab, I can start defining what are the capabilities that every new environment or existing environment in this environment group would be enforced with. So the first thing I'll show you is the advanced connector policy, where this is the list of Power Platform connectors. And I could choose from here what I want my makers to use, or I could remove a few connectors. I could pick from a gallery of 1,500 different connectors that they could use. And the Power Platform connectors is really a wrapper on top of the REST API that is the data connection. So for example, if I pick the Dataverse connector, I can actually do something that is unique to the Power Platform. I could pick and choose which specific action I want people to be using, and then block the connectors or the specific actions that I do not allow. So MSIT and Aisha was describing how we allow every employee in Microsoft to build, but it's restricted by these connections and connectors and actions. MSIT specifically have picked about 55 different connectors, and then about 610 different actions on these connectors that employees could start building with, and every company can actually pick and choose the list that they want. So the second thing I want to show you in rules is if I search for Copilot, I would see additional set of settings that I could use in the personal dev environment. Aisha talked about how personal environments in Microsoft IT are blocked to no sharing. So this is how simple it is to define that sharing is not allowed. You could also define if co-authoring is allowed or not. So there's a set of capabilities that you can control on the personal dev environments that live in this environment. Once you're done with all the settings and configuration, you just publish the rules, and this would go and enforce it on all the, in MSIT's case, 30,000 or 50,000 different environments that live in the environment group. So that's how simple it is to control. One thing I want to show you is when I'm in a maker and I go to the Copilot Studio, and now that it's been limited, these are the connectors that I can use. So if I choose the connectors, and here's the list of all the different connectors and actions, this is what MSIT can enforce of me as a maker, the things that I could use and the things that I cannot use when I create those specific agents that I built. And then if I need something special, I need to reach out to MSIT and then ask to be moved, as the personal dev environment can move from the green zone to the yellow zone, and then I could, on my specific environment, can get allowance to do access to some financial database or build an autonomous agent. The last thing I want to show you is in the managed page, switching to the new inventory experience. So this is the place where you can trust and verify. When people start building their agents, you could start seeing all the different agents that people build. You could search for specific agents. So this is, for example, the agent that I built in the Nestor environment. And it gives you a bird's eye view of all the agents. And soon it would actually allow you to click and take actions like block, change owner, delete things right from here. So with that, let me switch back to the deck and walk through the second part of this conversation, show you a little bit about the experience from a maker perspective. Two other things I want to touch on before I switch to the maker is once a personal dev environment has been used and a personal agent has been built, many of the asks would be, how can I get it to a place where I could share it broadly, because it's all been blocked in the personal dev environment. And for that, I want to call out the application lifecycle management capabilities that are also unique in the Power Platform. First is the preferred solution. So people building assets in their environment can actually pick what package they want to put that solution in. So they could actually take that package and move it to other environments via import-export or the application lifecycle management like pipelines that I'm going to show. If they didn't choose anything, that we already have a capability called preferred solution that will host the assets that people built. The next thing is pipeline. So this is the ability of IT to define a highway that will take your asset from your personal dev environments into production. The configuration is done through the pipeline and deploy UX in the Power Platform Admin Center. And you can see the video on the screen. It allows you to define multiple routes. So you could say all the blue developers or the environment group that hosts the blue developer will go to the blue production environment, and the purple developers would go to the purple production environment. So it gives you a lot of flexibility on how to get assets from a personal dev environment into production. And then the last thing to call out is we're also using ourselves the LLM to help admins make a decision. So there's a solution description that is automatically generated, and makers can actually edit it. And it will help you make decisions when you build a pipeline and you want things to be approved by MSIT or by IT. You could actually review the deployment notes and then make a decision if this asset is ready to go to production or not. So for that, I'm going to actually run a video of a recording that we've used in Build where Ryan is describing the experience from the maker, and that actually will close and show you how all the settings that I've configured impact the maker when they're in the studio itself. So let me run the video.
Let's see. You can see my screen all right. I've landed within the Copilot Studio here, and you'll notice, by the way, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling like Ryan anymore. I'm feeling a little bit more like Johanna. So anyway, I'm now Johanna, And so I've been placed within Johanna's developer environment. And so once again, this environment has been stamped with the rules that my organization has set up and defined. And so if I go in and let's see, I created this little agent earlier today. We'll give it a moment to load here. It has been a week, and so I'm going to test my agent. I think that I need a vacation. That would make sense, right, in the safe travel agent. And so let's see, can I go scuba diving in Fiji? Sounds nice. Fiji? Let's see what happens. Oh, fascinating. I did not know this. Fiji's hyperbaric chamber is currently not in service. Now, of course, I never trust Copilot, so I always follow the citations. And so let's see, I'll expand this and let's do a quick Control F, scuba. It reminds me of Scuba Steve. Do you guys remember that movie? Scuba Steve? Okay, oh, here we go. Scuba divers should be aware that Fiji's hyperbaric chamber is currently not in service and the nearest chambers are in New Zealand and Australia. Is that a long flight? A little bit? Okay. So anyway, my agent is working and it's telling me how it worked, yada, yada, yada. So like, I am super jazzed about this agent. And so I'm going to try to publish this agent more broadly. And so let's see, Facebook looks great. So let's do that. And then, drum roll please, wah, wah, you can see my organization has said, I should not be able to publish this agent to Facebook. And this is really important because a lot of times as we're building agents, we're not grounding them in, like the Department of State's website, and rather we're grounding them with sensitive company information, right? And so this provides a really important control to make sure that our internal data is not exposed externally. So, okay, you know what, it's fine. I don't want to share my agent with everybody on the planet. Maybe I just want to share it with everybody else at Microsoft. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my agent overview, and I'm going to go and I'm going to try to share this agent. And let's see, there were a few people that helped me build this agent, and so I'm going to try to share it with them. Let's see, we'll share it with David, and we'll share it with Ryan, other Ryan. Okay, but you'll see right here, we're actually saying, hey, you know what? You can't share this agent more broadly. And the reason why is because within my organization, my administrators have gone in and said, hey, you know what? We don't think you should be sharing your agents willy-nilly across the organization. But we don't want that to be a cliff. And so right here, I have a button to start the deployment process so that instead of sharing out of my development environment, I'm submitting this to be deployed into a production environment. And so if I click this button right there, I have this tab. We can see that I'm automatically pointed to a pipeline that will help me deploy my solution to production. And it requires approval, right? This is IT having oversight over how broadly my agent can be deployed. And so if I click deploy here, I've done that in the next tab, we'll see that I get a set of deployment notes, and then you'll notice those AI-generated agent descriptions right here. Function provides answers to common travel questions and related health and safety guidelines. I think hyperbaric chamber would count.
I think so.
Okay, good. So I can click deploy, and then of course, that will go to my admin for approval. They will see that description, and then that agent will be made available to the rest of my organization.
With that, let's see. You can. I will close by saying that this was how we offer in Power Platform Admin Center get capabilities to manage risk, and I want to use this as an opportunity to transition to Mia and then walk us through the last pillar of this session, talking about how to help you manage costs. So Mia, take it away.
Thank you, Johar. Hey everyone, my name is Yamiya Patra. I'm a product manager based out of here in Redmond. For the last couple of years, I've been focusing on enabling licensing and capacity management experience. for Power Platform with emphasis on simplifying admin experience. In next 10 or 12 minutes, with respect to cost control, this is what I plan to cover. We'll start with a quick overview of the licensing model used for Copilot Studio specifically. I'll show you how to track capacity uses in Power Platform Admin Center. We'll speak about how do we basically manage the prepaid packs if you have purchased anything. Then we'll talk about how do we basically address overages, if any, and how do we basically set up pay-as-you-go. We'll also talk about the latest capability which we are introducing, essentially the agent level usage control for detailed governance, and we'll have a quick overview of the agent cost estimator. So let's go over the different licensing options which are available in Copilot Studio. As you all know, Copilot Studio uses message as a common unit of usage across all its capability. There are three licensing options available, which provides you a flexible flexibility based on your usage. The first one is for more predictable usage. There is a message pack option available, which is $200, which provides you 25,000 messages per month. You can buy directly from Microsoft 365 Admin Center as an add-on. And once that add-on is available, this is available for the whole tenant. And again, you can buy multiple packs as needed. The second option, which is available, is pay-as-you-go, as we call it. It's great for unpredictable or low volume usage. You pay 1 cent per message, and it is billed through your Azure subscription. The way you bill it is basically you link your Azure subscription with your environment, which you are mentioning, and you don't need any upfront payment for that one. The last one is Microsoft Copilot Studio, also included in the Microsoft 365 Copilot license, which is $30 per user per month. This gives you each licensed user of Microsoft 365 Copilot licensed user full access to build and manage Copilots. Again, agent build in Copilot Studio for Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, or Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat are included at no extra cost with this one. So these are the three licensing options which are available. Based on your flexibility, you can use those. With that, I will switch my screen. Let's talk about after you have purchased your Copilot Studio message pack, or you have enabled pay as you go, and your users started using agent. The next big question comes: okay, how you start tracking your Copilot usage? Right? Now there are multiple questions which come correct, like hey, are we basically within our consumption limit? Who is consuming most of my capacity? Then how do you answer those? Essentially, like you can track those in Power Platform Admin Center. Let me switch over to the screen. Let me know if you're hopefully like you're still able to view my desktop. Over here in licensing hub, I'm in Power Platform Admin Center. If you see in licensing hub, we have a dedicated section for Copilot Studio. Over here, you can track your overall Copilot Studio usage. We have got multiple tabs over here. The first one is you can track here how many number of pay-go plan you have created and how much have been billed for pay-as-you-go. Over here, you can track how much of prepaid capacity you have got, how much you have purchased, how many number of capacity packs you have allocated to a different environment, and how much is currently coming. You can get a view of your month-over-month usage of your Copilot Studio capacity for the last 12 months. You can get day-over-day usage numbers. Then Johar mentioned that okay, like in Power Platform or in Power Platform, we use environment is more as a container. For each of the environment over here, you can see okay which one are your most used environments, which are consuming capacity. You can obviously see all your environment and how the capacity is getting consumed across your environment. Now, if you want to drill down to a specific environment and want to track consumption for a specific agent, you can get into the environment, and over here you can start tracking. Okay, hey, this is my consumption for individual environment, individual agent, and how much being consumed for each of the features. This way basically you can get a full view of your capacity usage as well you can basically get a view of your Copilot, Paygo capacity usage. Okay, the next, once basically you have the tracking, right? The next thing which comes is, okay, how do I basically start or controlling, okay, who can use my capacity? Okay, now is there some control available that, okay, I got purchased prepaid capacity, how do I control, okay, which specific environment or who can basically use my capacity? Okay? For that, in Power Product Center, we have an option to basically manage your capacity. You can basically allocate capacity to different environment. As I mentioned, as Johar mentioned, like environments are more used more like a container. Each of your department can have their own environment, and you can start allocating capacity to individual environment. Over here, you can see, okay, like these are my setup environment. What is the status of this environment, whether there has been a capacity allocated to environment or not, and whether there has been any message consumed in those environment or not. Okay? You can select a specific environment and you can start allocating capacity to this environment. Once you have allocated capacity to a specific environment, essentially this capacity is locked for the specific environment. No other environment or no other agent outside of this environment can start consuming capacity for this environment. So this way, basically, you can lock down, okay, I want to basically allocate capacity, so and so capacity for my environment. Now, what happens? Basically, you have allocated. Let's assume that, okay, you have allocated capacity for a specific environment, and there's probably a scenario where basically you have exceeded the consumption for the specific environment. Right? Let's basically take an example. Okay, over here, I have basically got an agent which I'm trying to publish to a specific environment. Let's take an example of, okay, this specific environment. I want to publish this agent to an environment. Now, if you see over here, considering this environment is already in overage, I should not be able to publish this agent to that environment. Then how do you address this? In order to address this, there are two options, correct? One is I have an option to draw down capacity from my tenant pool. That's option one, which essentially means if there is unallocated capacity which is lying aside, then you can make use of that. That's one of the options. The other option is you can also set up pay as you go. So which means, basically, let me just pick one of those examples. Okay? So which means, like, once my capacity is exhausted, then any overage from this point onwards will start getting billed to pay as you go. Let me take an example. I'm just setting a pay as you go for this environment, and I'll try to publish this one. Let me do a quick refresh. Yeah, if you see, basically the publishing is successful right now. I'll continue to publish, but in the meantime, let me go over basically the rest of the menu. So we spoke about, okay, I can draw down from the tenant pool, and also I can basically set up pay as you go. There is another option, like if there is overage in a specific environment, you can also subscribe to notification. You can subscribe to notification at different threshold, at 50%, 60%, or more than that. Okay? This way, basically, your environment admins and tenant admins can get notified whenever there is, and whenever the consumption in that environment hits certain limit. We spoke about pay as you go, but how do I set up pay as you go? In order to set up pay as you go, we have a section over here called billing plan. This basically provides the list of all billing plans which are created in your tenant. The billing plan is nothing but it's a link between your environment and your Azure subscription. Correct? Now, in order to do that, let me just walk you through how do I set up the billing plan. In order to set up a billing plan, the first thing you need a access to Azure subscription. As I mentioned, like the first thing you need an access to Azure subscription. Over here, I do have access to Azure subscription. I'll just select that. The next thing you need a resource group which need to be created in that Azure subscription. In this case, I'll just pick one of the resource group. Now, this is where the Power Platform account resource will get created. The next thing I need is basically in this case, what are the Power Platform product I want to select for this specific Paygo plan, which means any uses for these products will get billed to the Paygo plan, which is getting set up. For this demo, I'll select Copilot Studio because we want to basically build pay as you go for Copilot Studio. Now, the next thing is you need to basically select the environment. Over here, you need to select environment which is going to be there in the specific region. Now, remember one thing, only production and sandbox environment can be added to pay-as-you-go build. You cannot add other environment like default environment, trial environment to for a pay-as-you-go. That's the current limitation. Now, I'll just select a specific environment. Once you basically have selected this environment, obviously your pay-as-you-go plan is configured right now. Then any uses against this environment now get built to pay-as-you-go subscription. Now, let's quickly check. Like over here, you can see in Azure, you can see the different resources which got created. Over here, if you see the billing plan CCS demo created. Now, if you want to basically track your cost, you can also basically track your cost in Azure Cost Management. I already have created a view for myself, and this is where you can basically see your cost in Azure Cost Management. All right. So this is how you set up, you allocate capacity to an environment, and you set up pay as you go. Now, so far what we have spoken about is, okay, how do you like with respect to controlling your capacity, you allocate capacity to an environment or set up pay as you go for an environment. Now, so our customers are asking about, okay, like what if basically there are multiple, what if there are multiple agents which are lying in a specific environment? How do we basically control that? Is there a way we can control how much a specific agent can consume? For this, we are introducing a new page in Copilot, licensing hub in Copilot Studio over here, which is accessible to the tenant view experience. Over here, once you get into this page, essentially you get the list of all agents which are available in your tenant. It provides you, okay, what is the current state of those agents, which environment these agents are there, whether there has been any message limit which has been set up for this agent or not, and what is the build quantity and what is the non-build quantity for those, okay, non-build message quantity for this agent. From here, you should able to select a specific agent and set up a limit for that agent, which is nothing but a monthly limit. This monthly limit reset at the end of the month. And the way the monthly limit works, so depending on where the agent is, if the specific environment is set for pay as you go, essentially you can set up unlimited or whatever number you want. Now, if it is not set for pay as you go, if it is set up for prepaid, then essentially the number, the limit can be maxed up to the available capacity or prepaid available capacity. That's how basically you set up a monthly limit for the specific agent. Now, once you have set up a monthly limit, what are the guardrails available to ensure that, okay, the usage for this agent does not go above certain threshold? There are two options available. Either you can start with a soft enforcement by virtue of subscribing to an email notification. In this case, the tenant admin and environment admin will start getting the notification. The other option what we have is basically you can think about turning off the agent when basically the message reaches 100% of your available capacity. These are the two options which are available. So in summary, there are powerful tools available in Copilot Studio Message Consumption. For Copilot Studio Message Consumption in Power Platform Admin Center, you can track your prepaid, you can track your pay consumption in real time, and also you can basically set agent level specific limit for your agents. With that, let me switch over to the tech. So we spoke about how do you track consumption. We spoke about how do you basically set up a limit for your environment. We spoke about how do you basically address overage by setting a pay-go or drawing from the tenant pool. We also spoke about, okay, how do you set up Azure subscription? This is what you saw in the demo. I'm not going through those. And we also saw about like what agent level capacity limits are available in PPAC. Next thing is, now that is the next question, okay, what tools are available for estimating and forecasting your agent usage? Okay? We are introducing a new tool designed just to bring that clarity for agent cost control planning process. The tool we are calling it as Copilot Studio Agent Message Usage Estimator. It's a long name. The estimator help you in forecasting your agent's monthly message volume, whether you are just starting or scaling up. It can provide a clear picture of how your agent's configuration can impact your message consumption. You can choose different options as part of licensing option. You can choose whether it's an employee facing agent or a customer or partner facing agent. Then what are the different features going to be used by this agent, and based on that, the estimator will provide you what is the expected number of monthly consumption this agent is going to have. Again, just keep in mind, this is not a pricing calculator. It does not guarantee the final cost, but it can basically provide you a prediction. This is the monthly limit, monthly consumption, what's going to happen for this specific agent. Coming to when this agent is available, this estimator is available via Power Platform Admin Center homepage, from the Copilot Studio homepage, and also from the marketing page. And very soon it is going to be available from the Copilot Studio Azure pricing page as well. This tool is currently in public preview and available in all public regions where Copilot Studio is supported. I know we have got a few more minutes. Over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate all of the insights, Zohar, Amia, and Aisha. I think we have time for one question here. So we'll go with one that has been a common theme in the questions, and that is, what signals or metrics should we monitor to determine when a personal or departmental agent should be promoted to a production grade or enterprise managed agent?
It's a great question, and I think Aisha is missing. She had to drop. But what MSIT is looking at when they decide to promote an agent is mostly around security, making sure that the agent does not accidentally share any of the maker credentials, allowing a broad set of people to access on their behalf. So, for example, if you build an agent that scans Outlook or scans SharePoint, you want to make sure that those agents, when used by the end users in the conversation, it always connects with their end user authentication and not with maker authentication, which is an option for unique cases when, for example, if you need to access SQL with some shared account. So these are the security concerns. You also look at the, sometimes if it's one that would go very broadly, you want to actually review even closely the instructions that are being used, making sure that responsible AI is used and that all the protections are in place to prevent people from asking questions that are not appropriate. So there's more and more things that are documented out there on how to ensure that crown jewels are well protected as agents that are shared broadly. Once those are checked, you just need to click on deploy. It will take it with the application lifecycle management to production. And in that environment, people can then share the link to the agent, and the agent could be acquired in Teams or in chat.
Awesome. Thank you, Zohar. And with that, we're going to wrap it up. So we appreciate the insights into how we can support admins and makers without compromising control with Microsoft Copilot Studio. Amia, Zohar, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. We'll see you all at the next session.
Thank you, everybody.